Welcome to the second episode of Hot Takes, Hotter Mistakes, where it's just me, you, and my baby cockatoo. I'm your ho, Mateo El Tapatio. Let's get started with a word from my sponsor. Would you like to feel the essence of nature ripping down your entire every inch of your body? You want to walk into a room and have people say, "Damn, he smells wild." Well, look no further than Bare Nuts. Have a whole line of deodorants, shampoos, and conditioners. Speaking of nature, let me tell you about the time that I almost barbecued myself and then fed myself to a pack of coyotes. I'm from Texas and we have two different types of coyotes. This is the canine version. But it all started, but before I get started, let me just add this. If you're going to do Sober October, something Joe Rogan and the boys don't tell you is that you shouldn't end Sober October by going on a fishing trip and taking a whole bottle of tequila with you. That was an extremely bad idea. Fun weekend, but bad idea. Not very safe. So it all started with the 4-hour trip down there. I was excited. I'm going down with the Fish Bros. We're going to do a little fishing on Padre Island National Seashore. And I bought me a bottle of tequila. Now, I wanted to take a few little sips on the way down there, but luckily the guy I was riding with talked me out of it. So I waited till I got down there. So we arrived down on the beach probably around midnight. And the guys couldn't decide where they wanted to go, how far down the beach they wanted to go, because you can drive 60 miles or you could just park 1 mile in. But of course, they want to go as far as humanly possible so that we can't see another soul in sight. We finally get stopped probably about 12:30, and that's when I cracked open the bottle of tequila and started taking shots. And let's just say it was a matter of about an hour, I started getting shit-faced, right? But we were fishing, we were having fun. We weren't catching anything but hardheads, but it was a good time. So I decided that instead of sleeping in the trucks or in the back of the truck or even the tent, I was going to lay it out under the stars. The wind was blowing. The sand felt great. I had a pillow. I had a sleeping bag. Things were good. I was at least half a bottle into the tequila, so I couldn't feel anything anyway. So, curl up next to the fire because we built a fire. And, me thinking that it's probably, at this point, it's probably 3 or 4 in the morning. And that fire is going to burn out. I'll be good. So I lay right next to it. Well, at some point in the middle of the night, I guess I got cold and rolled closer and closer and closer to the fire. So the next morning we wake up and one of the guys looks over and he says, "Hey man, what the hell's wrong with your sleeping bag?" It's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "What's on your sleeping bag?" I pull up my sleeping bag and there's a hole melted about this big inside my sleeping bag. How I didn't catch myself on fire, I have no clue. I probably should have caught myself on fire, but I didn't. But anyway, the scariest part was once we got up, and of course, I'm pretty hungover, and honestly, I took a couple of breakfast shots just to make me feel better. But we're standing there, and we're kind of walking around the sand dunes, and we're trying to get some cell phone coverage. And one of the guys that was with us said, "We're at the top of the sand dunes," and he's like, "Hey man, are those coyote tracks?" And we start looking down, and I'm like, "You know what? Those are coyote tracks." And they were everywhere, just all around the top of the sand dunes. And so we walked to the bottom of the sand dune back to where we were camping, and then looked and realized that the whole pack had been circling around me all night. I think they were waiting for me to get done. Probably wanted medium rare, but I think I wasn't close enough to the fire to completely cook myself. Actually, I didn't even burn myself, which was surprising. But yeah, that's a good lesson is if you're going to do Sober October or if you're going to abstain from alcohol for a while, when you start back up, don't overdo it. Don't try to go, balls to the wall, balls deep on it, because it could end bad. It could end bad. I don't, I'm there's going to be so many stories on this podcast, and I'm going to tell you that honestly, it's surprising that I'm still alive. We've had countless fishing trips down there to where I've either almost hurt myself or did hurt myself. One of the times we went down there, it was one of our first trips. We Same thing. We all get off work at 5 o'clock. We want to get down. We want to go fishing, right? So we head on down, get beer and everything. Try not to drive when, alcohol in the car because I'm older now. I'm a little more wiser. But anyway, we get down there and it's probably about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. We start fishing off what's called the jetties. And we had brought a couple of guys that had never fished before. So I'm basically down there trying to help him learn how to tie his hook. So, I'm not even getting to drink any beer, maybe one sip here, one sip there, put my beer down. He's like, "Hey, Mateo, can you help me tie my hook?" I'm like, "Bro, how are you going to come on a fishing trip and you don't even know how to tie your hook?" Right? Anyway, so finally I'm like, all right, everyone's set. Our lines are in the water. Things are going good. Great. We're fishing, right? One of the guys hooks on this huge red. I mean, big. I know everyone tells fishing stories, but this red was nice. It was huge. And at the jetties, there's these huge rocks right at the water, right? And so as he's reeling it in, this red and his line gets caught down onto the rock. And so you could see this huge fish just flopping in the water, right? Flopping all over the water. But he can't reel it in any further because his line's hooked up on the rock. So what do? A good fish bro, a good friend. Had a little bit of a buzz, let's be honest, or else I probably wouldn't have done this. I'm like, I'll go get it. I'll walk down because you can step onto the rocks and, there's about that much water. It's not deep, the waves are coming in, the current's coming through, but you could stand on the rock. So my idea was I was going to get the net. I was going to go down, try to scoop his fish out of the water. And you know what? He was going to have his personal best redfish, right? Well, things didn't work out like that because one of the problems is those jetties are slick, like glass. And after 3 beers, that kind of stuff just doesn't process. You don't think about it, you just, bro's fish is caught. My boy's fish is caught. I got to help him out. So I go down. As I'm going, I take a step and the jetties are about this far apart, right? The rocks are, not the jetties, but this huge boulders in the water about that far apart. Well, I step. My leg goes right in between one. Well, if you know anything about the ocean, you know that anything in the water gets barnacles on it. And barnacles are like these little, I'm not a scientist and I'm no meteor psychologist, but the barnacles are these little things that form on everything and they're sharp as hell. They're razor sharp, like literally will slice yourself up. So my leg goes through it and my shin just went right across the barnacles like a cheese grater. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, I did it. Because the one thing I think that might have been the first trip we took. The one thing, and the guys out there will understand this, the one thing your wife tells you before you leave is don't fucking get hurt, right? Well, my wife now knows. We've been together 27 years. She knows. So she can say it, but it ain't going to do shit. I'm going to get hurt. But anyway, put my foot down, get my leg back out. I've got blood just rushing down my leg. But guess what? The redfish is still right there. And so, being a fish bro, you still have to complete the mission. The mission is I've got to get his fish, right? So I go a little further, scoop the net down right as I touch the redfish's head, which I think I might have went the wrong way because I'm a dumbass. So head, tail, whatever. It spooked it. It jumped up, snap, line snap. Redfish swims off. I look up. My fish bros are just looking at me like, Jesus Christ, why did we bring this dude, right? So, yeah, so I climbed back up on the top. I'm bleeding everywhere. And all I can think is, well, I'm going to end up getting that flesh-eating bacteria this weekend and lose my leg. And I'm going to have to go home. I'm going to have one leg, and then my wife's never going to let me fish again, right? So I thought, maybe, you know what? Maybe I won't get in the water the rest of the weekend. Maybe not, whatever. That's what I'm thinking in my head, but we're still fishing. The funny thing, though, is that was probably, I'm guessing now because at the time I didn't know what time it was. It was probably 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So at this point, my leg's burning. I'm hurting. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this burns. when you're on the jetties, the waves will hit and the salty mist will come up and it's just spraying all over my grated leg. And I'm like, man, I gotta pound a few more beers, right? And so I'm like, all right, screw it. 1, 2, 3, trying to get that buzz, because I'm in pain, right? So I start getting there, right? Probably past the point of a buzz, and I'm like feeling good. In my mind, I'm thinking it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, right? Look over at my buddy and he's like, "Are we gonna go get breakfast?" I'm like, "Where the fuck are we gonna get breakfast at 2 o'clock in the morning?" He's like, "Bro, it's almost 7." And I'm like, "Great, I'm shit faced and it's 7 a.m." So you know what I had to do? Obviously, I had to just keep it going until Sunday. And so when I came home, my wife was really pissed because I wasn't worth the shit for like 3 or 4 days. But yeah, that's what happens when you get together with the boys and go down to and do some fishing trips, So yeah. Speaking of fishing trips, I think a good movie to be made would be Two Guys, One Pole, right? Ricky Bobby. It's an action adventure. Ricky Bobby going out to the creek, camping, and they lose their kayak. They get stranded. Things are rough, but they have each other, right? And they realize there's only one thing to do. So they start to fish, but they realize that if they only have one pole, they can only catch half the fish, right? So they end up fucking starving to death. So that would be the end of the movie. Yeah. Just my thoughts. But like I say, this podcast isn't normal and neither am I. Never been to a doctor, but probably should go to one. But I've made it this far in life with just being me. But yeah, good times. This podcast is a little bit longer than the first one. I'm trying to get better at it, but we're getting there. I feel a little more comfortable with it. If you guys like, I would love for you to drop comments, subscribe, share, do whatever you want. But yeah, man, I want to keep doing this. And for anyone that's watching this or is going to see this, I appreciate you if you watch the whole thing. I'm going to have many more stories, many more stories. And I'm going to become a lot more comfortable. And as I get more comfortable, I'm going to get more fucking crazy because that's who I am. And having a camera, talking to a camera has, what's the word I'm looking for? Not fucked me up, but, diminished my abilities a little bit. I'm looking for a word, but I can't find it. But yeah, this is just the beginning. It's going to get a whole lot crazier, I promise you. Once I'm comfortable, you'll be like, who in the fuck is this guy? Where did he come from? I promise you it's coming. It's coming. So that's all I got for tonight. But it's going to get longer. Stories are going to get crazier. I hope y'all get involved. I hope people start commenting and leaving questions because I'm going to start answering your questions and giving you advice that you probably don't want. And things are going to get crazy and it's going to get fun. So later, I love y'all and peace out.